Hi everyone, so here we are for the usual Saturday video. Today we're going to be doing an extended cut crease. I will be adding a lot of embellishments to this look, but for the video I'll just show you the simple bare bones of the look. One thing I've been doing lately is that I've been doing a different look each time, and it's usually a surprise look. So last time I did an open cut crease, this will be the extended cut crease. So the first person to comment on this video with a number between 1 and 7 will decide what next week's look is going to be. Also, just as a side note, there'll be 2 videos today because after this video I'll be doing another one on contouring. So if you're interested in that one, well, keep an eye out for the second video. Okay, so as you can see, I've outlined my eye shape where my eyebrows are going to be later on. I've primed and I've taped off this edge here because where the extended cut crease will end, I want that sharp line along the edge there. So what I usually do, just as a side note, I usually put the tape from the corner of my eyelid to where my eyebrows would be ending. So that gives you that nice continuous line from the edge of the eyelid right up. It's just personal preference if you decide to blow it right out or you want to just end it around here or whatever you would like to do. I'm actually doing quite creative makeup looks at the moment, so I'm probably going to blow it right out today. So what we're going to do first is we're going to place our blending colours. Now when I mean blending colours, if you've watched my other videos, I usually start off with my darkest or most intense colour in the crease, and then I blend upwards with lighter colours later on. So we've got our 3 blending brushes here. I've got a small brush to place the eyeshadow in the crease. Then I've got a medium blending brush to place our second and blending colour above that and blend upward. And then I've got a very fluffy large blender so that we can soften everything, make sure there's no harsh lines, because blending is literally the most important step in your eyeshadow routine. Blending is everything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I've got a little mirror here just in case I get stuck and I just need to have a quick look how things are going. This palette is really amazing. It's a, I can't remember what one it is. Oh, it's a Chi Chi palette and I got this for Christmas, so I was really wrapped. It's called Pastels and Dreams. And as you can see when I open it up, the colours are really amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my first colour, which is a really amazing turquoise, and I'm just loading my brush. I'm not going to tap off at this point in time because I want to have the maximum amount of colour placement in that crease. So, actually, I'm going to need the mirror because, you know, just cause. And I've just seen a problem. Now, a lot of people say this to me as well. How do you get the primer not to crease on your eyelid? Well, as you can see there in the middle, it has started to crease. So I'm just going to go and grab something and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. I have just gone and gotten a little mini blender and this one is dry, not dampened. So I'm just bouncing it across that creased area on my eyelid. And as you can see, in comparison with the two, that's the creased one, that's the non-creased one. You just kind of buff it out, if that makes sense. But you don't want that there when you start to apply eyeshadow, because that creased area, well, it kind of has a build-up of primer there, and the eyeshadow will like stick in some areas and not in others, so it will give you an uneven application. Okay, so with our loaded brush, we're just going to pat the colour from the inner corner of the eyelid around the orbital bone, which gives that rounded shape to the eyeshadow. And then when we kind of hit this corner, we're going to start to wing it out. And what I mean by wing it out is like we create that little like dip there, and then we basically just take it up until it meets up with our tape. Just like that. Now this is actually a good colour for you to see on camera, because you can actually definitely see that line there. So I'm just going to go in again and repeat, because I want the colour to be quite intense today. So I'm going to do a couple of layers. Also, if you've watched my videos before, I always like to do things in threes. So it will probably be 3 layers of shadow. Now, as you can see, as we're building up the eyeshadow, we've got that really nice line there. I'm just going to go ahead and apply my 3rd layer of shadow. I really like to apply it from the inner corner. Lots of people like to apply it from the outer corner, but you know what, again, and I use this saying a lot, it's just complete personal preference. Now, because I've added that 3rd layer, I'm just going to kind of rub the brush across it just to soften it a little bit. Just will help when we place the next colour with blending and those sort of things. Now I can see that line is really, really nice. Just going to lean a bit closer so you can see the actual like progression of the shadow up this way, and then it wings back that way. So I'm just going to pause for a few minutes so that I can do the other eye, and then when I come back we're going to place the 2nd colour and we're going to start blending. Okay everyone, so as you can see, I've got both eyes on now. That sounds so funny, doesn't it? I've got both eyes on. It sounds like I've blue tacked my eyes to my face or something. That's really funny. Anyway, moving on. So now we're going to place our 2nd colour and we're going to start blending. So we've got our medium blending brush. I think that's what it's called. Yep, blending eye brush. So now I'm just going to place above that really intense blue, like a pastel blue for blending. And I'm loading my brush again. And we're just going to repeat what we did the previous eyeshadow colour, but I'm kind of patting it above that line that we created with the previous colour, and I'm just slightly overlapping it, because when we come to blending it in a minute, that will give us that nice kind of like blurring of the 2 colours. So I'm going in with my 2nd layer of pale blue above the turquoise, and we're just patting it back and forth along that line until we meet up with the tape. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I have been really sick and I lost my voice for a period of time, and it's still just a little bit catchy in the back of my throat. So you can see now that pale pastel blue colour above the turquoise. And again, I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm just going to rub the brush along just to soften everything. We definitely want soft. We don't want harsh lines or any crazy looking, placement. We want everything to be very soft. Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to do this one on camera because I don't know why, I just will. But anyway, again, we're just repeating the placement of colour like we did before, but just above the first eyeshadow that we put in the crease. So this is my second layer going in right now. So we're just making sure we get it along that wing. And as you can see, the colour's actually almost starting to meet up with my eyebrows now. That's actually what we want, because we want to use the whole of the eye space, because then it draws your eyes upward. And if you've got a little bit hooded eyes like me, you need that colour above the crease to kind of open the eye up. So now I'm just brushing through again, just softening everything, and as you can kind of see like a line between the colours there. So I'm just kind of brushing gently back and forth across it. You don't need to press too hard, because otherwise then you're going to create drag on the skin, and the skin in your eye area is really delicate, so you don't want to be creating any more fine lines in there with your eyeshadow. Okay, so there you have it. That's the two colours placed. Now we're going to start really blending a lot more. I've got my big fluffy blender here, and this time I'm not loading the brush. I'm just dipping into the light blue, and I'm going to tap off the excess. So starting again in the corner of my eye, and this time I'm just doing like big circular motions, almost like when you're brushing your teeth. And I'm just circling it along that line and out towards the edge. I'm just softening everything and making sure it blends nicely together. So just tapping off our excess, and now I'm doing like a back and forth motion. I saw in a live yesterday by one of my fellow beauty guides, she described this as like a windscreen wiper move. You know what? That's a good description, and I'm going to use it. Thank you, Tiffany. Last blending layer going in right now, and I'm just going to do the circular motions again, but I've almost lowered the brush into the crease slightly, just so that we can blend those two blues together a lot more. And I'm just making sure that it meets up with my eyebrow in the highest area there, and then we come down again to the wing at the end. So that's the first eye done. As you can see, you can't see those lines anymore, and the colour gradually progresses from the intense turquoise up to the baby blue, and then it just gently fades off. So I'm tapping into my colour and I'm tapping off the excess, and we're just blurring and softening all of our colour along this way. And then we're going back. I'm holding the brush by the end that kind of guarantees that you're not going to be pressing too hard on the skin on the eyelid, and that everything's just going to be really soft and blended nicely. So we're just using that window screen wiper movement again, and then we're just blurring out the tail. I call it the tail, you know. It's the end, it's the wing, it's, you know, whatever. So we're just going to go around again. Then we're going to come back. And then we're just going to swish across like that. Now it literally doesn't matter how long it takes you to blend. This is the most important step, so don't worry about how long it takes you. You will literally thank yourself at the end if you spend the extra time doing this. So we've got our line in. Sorry. What we're going to do next is I'm going to grab another brush and my eye base, and we're going to cut the crease next. So I'll just be back in 2 seconds once I grab everything that I need. Okay everyone, I've managed to successfully keep pausing today. Something horrible happened with the last video. I'm not sure what happened there. I thought it was paused and it actually wasn't, and then I cut some of the pieces off the end of the video. But today's been a success, so you know what? We're going to take a win on that one. Alright, so I've got my eye base. I'm just squeezing a small amount onto the back of my hand. A lot of these cream products kind of need warming up first. In saying that, if you don't have eye base at home, you can use your eye primer or you can use concealer. Now, I've just got a flat synthetic brush. The reason I'm using a synthetic brush is because synthetic brushes do not absorb the product. I've got a flat rounded brush because we're going to use it to create that cut crease line. Now I'm just dabbing it into my eye base. And I'm just going to dab it along the lash line here, because in a minute we're going to create that line that we need to continue out into our wing. Now I'm just patting it along the lash line of my other eye, along here. Okay. Now this is a little trick that I've learned to create that line, especially if you don't sometimes have the steadiest hand like I do. If you put your chin onto your chest and then open your eyes really wide, where we've placed the base in that lash line will imprint onto the natural crease of our eyelid, and that will show us where we need to go. So that probably looks really weird, doesn't it? As you can see on this one, it's printed up there. This one hasn't so much, so I'm just going to place a little more product a little bit higher up, and I'm just going to do that again. You can roll your eyes back and forward too to kind of create that curve. So as you can see, that's where we're going to go with our cut crease. I'm just dabbing in a little bit of the colour, because if you kind of load up on too much of this when you're doing that line, it's really hard to get a crisp line if you've got too much product. So I'm kind of leaning my elbow against the edge of the table to kind of keep my hand steady. And I'm just running the brush over that curve that we just created and down towards the start where that wing's out. So we're just dipping it, and now we're starting to wing it up, and now it's meeting up with our tape. So that's where we want it to be. as you can see, I was just using small, short strokes because it's easier to have control in that way. And then I'm just like dabbing it into the corner of my eye, and then I'm just going to join it up with that curve that we created earlier. Just like that. Okay, so as you can see, that's where our crease is cut. I'm just going to go ahead and pop the other one in, following that curve again. And this is one thing that drives me crazy about eye looks. Always one turns out perfect, and then there's one that just doesn't quite look exactly the same. Okay, that's a bit better. Oh, you got a boo-boo, Clodagh? Oh, she's cute. And I'm winging it up into the side of the tape there. That one's not quite so curved as the other one is, so I'm just gonna make a little adjustment in there, because I know that from past experience this eye is more hooded than this eye for some reason, best known to itself. But you know what, doesn't matter. If your eyes are really hooded like that and you're doing cut creases like this, it's a really good idea to go just above the crease, because that opens your eye up even more. Okay, so that's probably the best I'm going to do on that one. Now, this time we are loading up our brush with a lot of product, because we're going to pat it into that shape that we just made, right up into that wing, because we're going to actually place eyeshadow on this section as well, but in a different color. Like I normally put shimmer shades on this section, but today, because I'm doing a creative look, there's actually a lot of things that I'm going to be placing on here today, but I'm not going to give it away, just in case some people who are watching are taking part in the Wizard of Oz guessing competition at the moment. So I'm not going to say much more. So I'm just patting my eye base into that space that we've just created with our eye base and that line. You know, just patting along, making sure that we've got nice even coverage of the eye base within that cut crease that we've just made. Now I'm just going to pop a little extra just along there, because I can just see that blue peeking through. And just a little more on this side, just so that we've got continuity of the eye base along here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go in with my mini blender again, and I'm just kind of going to blot any excess product out of that area, just so that when we come along later with our shadow that we're not having uneven application again. Okay, so that's your extended cut crease. You can add in anything you like from here on in. You can add eyeliner, you can add glitter, anything that you want, but that is the basic shape. Now, as I said, whoever comments with a number between 1 and 7 on this video first will be the the one that chooses next week's eye look. I will be back later on with the contouring video, so just keep your eye out for that as well. Anyway, that's it from me with the eye look right now, because as I said, I don't want to give too much away to people who are guessing in the competition, so I'll be back later with the contouring video.